Hey everybody, welcome back to Movie Smoothie. I'm your host and person talking at you currently named Jake, and today we're going to be talking about Jurassic World Dominion, giving a little bit of a review of it. Now, before I get into that, if you guys could like this video and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers right now. Let's make that happen. So, talking a little bit about this film before we dive into the review, the description of the film reads, 4 years after the destruction of Isla Nublar, dinosaurs now live and hunt alongside humans all over the world. This fragile balance will reshape the future and determine once and for all whether human beings are to remain the apex predators on a planet they now share with history's most fearsome creatures. The film was released on June 10th, directed by Colin Trevorrow, and of course distributed by Universal Pictures because this is like their biggest IP. I really enjoyed this film. I don't think it deserves the 30% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critic score. I would agree much closer with the audience score of 78%. And I don't know, man, even though, yes, it does have its problems, it was a lot of fun and definitely not the worst Jurassic World film. I mean, I think a lot of people are forgetting about Fallen Kingdom here. I really enjoyed Dominion. It was fun. They treated the legacy characters and new characters really, really well. I want to talk a little bit about the new characters first, though, because we have Chris Pratt as Owen Grady, Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire Deering, and DeWanda Wise, who really stood out as Kayla Watts. Wow, was she good. She was hilarious, man. A really great new addition. There was a lot of really weird new characters added at the beginning of this film that were super underdeveloped and kind of were just there to serve a very small purpose. But if you look past that, I really liked the addition of Kayla. She's a great character, very funny, has some great lines, and has this wonderful comeback joke about redheads that I thought just really amused me. I thought that was really funny. I don't know, she really stood out to me. She was fantastic. Chris Pratt, or Crisp Rat as I like to call it, is serviceable as always, and Bryce Dallas Howard was fantastic. So there you go. I like them. I don't know, man. I've always liked Chris Pratt, but lately he's been pretty milquetoast to me. He just doesn't do anything that's super impressive to me, like how he was on like Parks and Rec, for instance. And like, I really like him in Guardians of the Galaxy. I know a lot of comic book fans aren't too big of a fan of his portrayal of Star-Lord, but I think it's fun. Maybe it's not comic book accurate, but I think it's fun. I like it. He's good. But I will say, this might be the best treatment of legacy characters across the board with any of these requels. I mean, I can't tell you how long I've been waiting for Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler to fucking kiss. I know, listen, and I'm not the guy who gets all upset over romance in movies. I'm really not. That's really not me at all. But man, ever since I saw Jurassic Park 3, I'm like, why did they split them up? That just doesn't make any sense. For whatever reason, like I don't know. That has been something that's been burrowing in my brain, and I've been waiting to see this scene basically my entire life. So that really made me happy. I was really, really, really very satisfied with that scene right at the end there. We also have Jeff Goldblum in another show-stealing performance as Ian Malcolm, once again reprising this role. In the last film, I feel like he was criminally underused because, I don't know, he's just like, they just decided to throw him in there for some reason. It had nothing to do with the plot at all. He actually does some stuff in this movie, which was fantastic. And he has this hilarious line about telling this story about a dog humping his shin to the point where he formed a callus, which is hilarious. I mean, you knew that was improvised by Jeff, you know, and he's just amazing. He's such a talent. Really fun to see him, and literally all of the legacy characters again on screen in a Jurassic World film, or Jurassic Park, Jurassic film, whatever. It was awesome. The dinosaurs looked amazing. There was these dinosaurs with like feathers on them. It showcased a lot of new dinosaurs we still have never seen before in the Jurassic franchise, which I thought was really fun. There's a lot of good ones, a lot of really fun fights, especially right at the ending there. Even if it felt a little forced, you know what? I don't care. I thought it was still a lot of fun. I was just watching, like, I felt like a child again watching a bunch of dinosaurs fight on screen, so I don't really care if it felt a little forced. I'm gonna be honest. I enjoyed it. My biggest problem with the film, though, and there's many more positives that I think that outweigh these negatives, but the exposition in the first act is unbelievably clunky and written so lazily. I don't know, man. I really love this film once you get into like the end of the second act. It's great. Once you have Kayla's character established with Owen and Claire in the plane, from then on, I loved it. But before that, I was like, I cannot believe this is the film I'm watching. This is pretty awful. The exposition's told in a very clunky way. The very first scene of this movie is this YouTube video with this new character we've never met before and does not come back into the film whatsoever throughout the runtime of the entire movie. And she's explaining in like this YouTube video format everything that's happened in the past 4 years since the events of the last movie. I don't know, it's very clunky. Everything in that little scene could have happened in conversation between like Owen and Claire very easily. Like you could have written that in there. I mean, some idiot from Ohio, myself, could tell you that, opposed to the people in Hollywood. I don't know. I just feel like that would have been, that was really lazy. There's many moments of that throughout, but I don't feel like complaining about them because I kind of want to just geek out about the dinosaurs and cool stuff in this movie. One more thing. A bit too long too with the exposition. I feel like there's a lot of things that are unnecessary and don't really fit into a Jurassic World movie all that well. You have all this like action sequences where I can't remember where they went. Off the top of my head, it was like a very quick scene of saying where they were, but they go to this like other country and they're like trying to find like Macy and Blue's like Velocibaby and all that. That's what I want to call it, the Velocibaby. I just like that. I like coining that term. And they try to go after him and like try to unkidnap them, but it just feels unnecessary. It feels like we could have made this whole movie basically take place at the Biosyn Nature Preserve thing. Like, I feel like we could have just started there in like the second act. Like the whole first act is getting everybody to go there on separate routes. Like maybe you have Ellie, Alan, and Ian in one subplot going there to try to get a sample of the locusts, which is another thing I loved about this movie, how they updated and modernized the political commentary, or like social commentary of what was the original Jurassic Park movies, what they were commenting on, about how like life finds a way, you can't control things like this. They modernized that in just a great way here that, yes, they've touched on in the past couple of films, but I loved the whole, the locusts destroying the fields and all that, and they wouldn't eat the Biosyn seed. That was just really smart, and it felt like really in touch with what's going on in the world today. I really liked that. That was very smart. These movies have always had that kind of commentary in there, and they modernized it in a very good way, I think. A lot of requels don't get that right, and this one killed it, and they absolutely nailed it with that, in my opinion. You could have had that be one whole subplot, while another one would be Owen, Claire, and all the other new people going after Blue's Velocibaby and Macy, who would have gotten kidnapped in the first act. I just feel like getting there was a little clunky. That's really my only complaint. This could have been like a 2-hour movie. I think it would have been perfect at 2 hours. It was a little too long in my opinion. But regardless, I had such a fun time with this movie. I really enjoyed it. I think that this was a perfect little wrap up to this new trilogy. And it's like I said, definitely not the worst Jurassic World film. Like Fallen Kingdom was leagues worse than this. And I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun time overall. I really don't have much to complain about here. Like I said, that's the one thing. The rest of it was so much fun. Seeing those legacy characters on screen again basically brought tears to my eyes. I don't know what else to say besides that. It was wonderful. If you're a fan of the Jurassic Park movies, like the original trilogy, like I am, you will love this film. You really will. It's a great requel. It's a great love letter to those movies. So if you guys agree with that, leave me something about it in the comments. Maybe you completely disagree. You hated this movie or something. Leave it in the comments. Just let's talk a little bit about it, however you feel about it. I'm not expecting everyone to 100% agree with me. That would be kind of weird considering that film is subjective. So leave me something about it in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And also don't forget to subscribe to Movie Smoothie and my main channel, Killjoy Jake, where I talk specifically about horror. So make sure to check those out. Thank you guys for watching again, and peace out.